2. Today we're going to be doing something pretty cool. It's called matrix multiplication. Now you might remember last class we covered matrix addition and subtraction, and that's pretty intuitive. Matrix multiplication is not intuitive, so this is going to feel pretty different. So you're going to want to write this down. Here we're going to have two matrices like this. And all I'm doing is I'm putting in generic elements for you. And this is actually really important. You're going to want to put a dotted line to separate the rows in the first matrix and the columns of the second. Okay, so rows by columns. So underneath we're going to put a note here, put a big star. It's always rows by columns. That's always going to guide you through this. Now the way it works is you multiply the elements in the first row to the elements of the first column to get this entry. So for example, this top left would be AE plus BG. Now what's really interesting is that you'll notice you only use each element one time in the multiplication. It's not AE and AG. Once A and E are multiplied together, you no longer use them. You go to BG. What's also cool is if you look at this element, this is the top left element. So think about those words top left. I'm using the top row and the left column to get the top left element. So if I want the bottom left element, I want the bottom row and the left column. So that's going to be CE plus DG. If I want the top and right, that's going to be AF plus BH. If I want bottom right, this one, CD and FH get multiplied together. So CF plus DH. So that's how it's going to work. So here it says, find AB. So I'll write A times B. I always recommend writing it out. Do not do this in your head. That's there's a lot of places to make mistakes, so you just want to minimize mistakes here. And I always recommend draw the lines. This will really help you, like on your tests and quizzes, you put those down. That just shows me you're paying attention. So let's multiply 2 times 0, that's 0, plus 3 times 5, that's going to be 15. Okay, let's do the bottom left. So 4 times 0, that's 0, plus 7 times 5, that's 35. Next one, let's say I want top right. So 2 times 1, plus 3 times 6, that would be 20. Let's say I want bottom right. That's 4 times 1, plus 7 times 6, that would be 46. There's your answer. Now let's say I flipped it, B times A. Now your initial thought would be, why would you do that, right? We just did A times B. Isn't that going to be the same thing? Well, let's check. Let's see if that is actually true. 0, 1, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7. Don't forget your dotted lines here. Let's do it. Top left, so top and left, that'd be 0 plus 4, which is 4. To a bottom left, that would be 10 plus 24, 34. Next one would be 0 plus 7. And last one would be 15 plus 42, which is 57. So what's super interesting is we just found that A times B did not equal B times A. Now this is what I mean when I say matrices aren't in regular math, because in regular math this would be impossible. In matrix world, we're seeing that this property is not holding true. So what we're going to write is, in matrix world, the commutative property, that's what this is, commutative property of multiplication does not apply. So that's pretty weird, because this is the first time in your math career where really this is not working. So that's why matrices, again, are pretty special. Now let's go here. A, so find A, B. Okay, so this is going to get a little weird. It says A, 1, 2, 3, and then B is 4, 5, 6. So let's just do that same thing we did earlier. Rows and columns, but in this one you'll notice there's only one row, there's only one column, which means there's only going to be a single number. So you do 4, this one, plus 10, plus 18. That would be, I'll write that out, 32. And that's your answer. Now, a lot of people teach is this little trick. This first matrix is a 1 by 3. The second matrix is a 3 by 1. These have to match in order for multiplication to work. So these must match. And that makes sense, right? Because you need the columns in the first one to match up with the rows in order for each element to have a partner. And then what's really cool is this part. The outsides, that's your resulting matrix. So you'll see this 1 and 1, that's a 1 by 1. So that's pretty cool. Make that a little nicer for you. 1 by 1. So let's flip it. Let's see what happens here. If we wanted B times A, 4, 5, 6 times 1, 2, 3. If we do that same trick, this is a 3 by 1 times a 1 by 3. So these match, which means it is going to work. And this right here is our result, which means we're expecting a 3 by 3. And at first glance, that might seem like, how could that even happen? But let's find out. Let's separate the rows and the columns. And now we're starting to see what's going to happen, right? In order to get this top left row, I'm going to use top and left. That's going to be 4. If you want this top middle, use top and middle. 8. Top right, 12. Let's say you want this one, right? So this is middle left. So middle and left. That's 5. Middle, 5 times 2, 10. Middle right, 15. This is bottom left. So follow the same pattern, 6, 12, 18. And there's our resulting matrix. Now here's our last two examples here. It says multiply, so we're going to practice here. So for A, this is a 2 by 2. This is a 2 by 4. So we can see the match, so that's good. This is our result, 2 by 4. And again, always do this. On your tests and quizzes, if you do this, again, it's showing me that you're paying attention. Separate the rows, separate the columns. Okay, so let's just do that. So the first entry is going to be 4, next one 12, 10, 28. And this is the same pattern we've been doing. It's 1, 8, 0, 22. So that's our answer once you multiply these two together. Now for B, this is a 2 by 4 multiplied by a 2 by 2. So if you know that trick I showed you you can see that these don't match, which means it's not even going to work. There's no answer here, not possible. But let's say you didn't know that trick. Let's just see what happens, right? We're going to separate our rows here. Columns here. And look at what happens. And I do 1 times 4, that's fine. 2 times 1, but then 3 has nobody, 4 has nobody. So you can see that even if you try to do it, you would see that it falls apart. And that's why this is not going to work. And that's it for multiplying. So good luck practicing, and let me know if you have any questions.